Byte. In today's SuncatByte, we are going to cover for loops. So we've already talked about while and do while loops. Now we're going to talk about for loops. So remember, for loops, all loops have a few things that they need, a few different criteria, right? And those criteria are this. They need to have an initial assignment for the loop counter or stopping variable, a condition such that when it's true, it will cause the loop to be executed. When it's false, it'll cause the program to stop the loop, and then you need to have a loop altering statement. So we use for loops when the programmer knows exactly how many times the statements will be executed or repeated. It's kind of the same thing there, right? It is the same thing, executed or repeated. And let's get our spelling correct. Exactly. Okay, and remember, it has to have these three things in the loop. So in a for loop, it's going to look like this. You're going to have for, you're going to have your initialization statement here. You're going to have your test condition here. You're going to have your loop update statement here, or your loop altering statement. You're going to have these curly braces. Here's going to be statements that are executed, and your closing curly brace. Okay, so your initialization statement matches here, right? That has this. Your test condition matches number 2, your loop altering statement here. So what's going to happen is you're going to come into your loop. This is going to get executed first. You're initializing things. Then you're going to check your test condition here. If that is true, you're going to execute these statements. If it's false, you're not going to execute. You're just going to go to this curly brace. And then after a successful execution, you're going to do this loop update. Once you do the update, you will then check your condition again. So let's look at an example. Say we have this. For, we declare a variable here called I equals 0. That's an initialization. Then we say I less than 50, I plus plus. Okay. Then we say cout this is my first for loop. So we have this code here, and then we can also look at it in terms of this diagram. So same code, well, similar. Actually, let's not do that then. Let's go through this here, and we'll look at that. We'll look at that other one separate in just a second. So what's going to happen is initially we're going to come in. We're going to have for int I equals 0. So we have this variable I. It's going to have a value of 0. We're going to do a check, and we're going to say, is I less than 50? So is 0 less than 50? It is. So we're going to output one line that says, we're going to output a new line and then say, this is my first for loop. Then we're going to increment. So now we're going to get I plus plus. So we're incrementing I. I is now going to be 1. We immediately check the condition again. Is 1 less than 50? It is. So now we're going to say, this is my first for loop again. So now we have that output twice. We're going to repeat this until I is actually 50. Then is 50 less than 50? It is not. So we're going to exit at that point. Because we start at 0, we're going to execute from 0 to 49. So we're going to have 50 of these lines output in this example. Looking at it in terms of a flow chart, we have this. I equals 0. You do your check, I less than 50. If it is, in this case, we're going to say hello world. Then we're going to come back. We're going to do our update, which is plus plus I, and now you check again. So in this case, it's the same as the one before. We'll have 49 or 50 hello worlds. Looking at another graphical, oops, excuse me, not that one, but this one. Looking at another diagram. So for I equals 50, if you follow things here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first things first, perform your initialization. Variable gets I gets initialized to 0. Then 2, you check your condition. Is 0 less than 50? If it is, you execute. If it's not, you're going to exit. In this case, true. So we execute hello world. 3, if it was, 2 was the check. 3 was we execute hello world. If it was false, we would have exited, but we're not exiting. So 3 is we executed hello world because our condition was true. Then you always go and you do this. What's here, the update. So now we do update the loop counter. So here we actually increment it. So now it's going to be 1, and then you do your check again. Is it less than 50? 1 is less than 50, and you do the same thing. Execute if it is, if not, exit. Or go to the curly brace. So let's look at a piece of sample code in a little bit more detail. It's pretty much the one we just saw. So we have pound include IOStream using namespace standard. We're going to declare 2 variables, count and many. So let's go ahead and use Excel to keep track of this. So we have counter, and we have how many. Counter initially has no value, neither does how many. We ask the user how many hellos would you like to see. And when we run this, I'm going to say 3 in the example. So we have 3. So now we have a value of 3 here. Then we say the for loop executes how many times. So here we have the initialization. We already declared counter. Notice in the other examples we actually set int here and we declared it. Here it was already declared. So now we're assigning a value to counter of 0. So counter has 0. So then we do what next? We check, right? Is counter less than how many? Is 0 less than 3? It is, so we execute. So we should have 1 hello. So let's say this was our output. We'll have a hello. And we have, actually it's a new line first, right? So new line, then a hello. Then we increment, plus, plus, then we do this statement here. So it's going to be plus, plus this statement. Then that statement gets executed next. So that's plus, plus counter. So our counter is now 1. Counter of 1 gives us 1 less than 3. So is 1 counter 1 less than 3? It is, so we'll execute again. So now we'll get another hello, a new on its own line, right? Now we increment again. Counter gets a value of 2. Is 2 less than 3? Because we're doing this check now. Is 2 less than 3? It is. So we get a new line and another hello. Now we're going to come back here. Counter gets incremented again. Now it's 3. Is 3 less than 3? Check here. Is 3 less than 3? It's not. So we're going to exit. And then we're going to get, that's a lot of hellos. So we'll get, that's a lot of hellos. So our output should look like that with the input of 3. So let's go and build our solution. Start it without debugging. I'm going to say 3. And here we go. Hello, hello, hello. That's a lot of hellos, which is what we anticipated when we walked through it earlier. Something to consider, what if you had an equal sign here and less than or equal to sign here? So if I put 3 in that case, we're going to actually get 4, because on that last time through, it's going to say, is it less than or equal to 3? It is, so we'll get 1 extra hello, and then the next time around, we'll have, it'll be greater, right? Then it'll be 4, and oops. So then the last time here, let's go look through it. So here 3 was equal to 3. 3 was less than 3 before. Now if we have less than or equal to 3, it's gonna execute that one more time, and then it'll stop. So if I do this and do start without debugging, and we say 3, we actually get 4 because it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3 here because it's less than or equal. So since it's equal, we get that last one. So that's it for the SuncatByte. This is program 3.6. So I do encourage you to go ahead and play with this one on your own. As always, questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach me during office hours or via the discussion board forum, or shoot me an email. Talk to you soon. Bye.